have opened up our store where now you can get some of our previous limited edition shirts over at our bonfire page by going to this link or clicking the link in the description. We've got our Saul shirt, Lloyd approved, and more. Plus, now for the first time, you can get these great designs by Sean Millington on these cool mugs, too. Check them out over on Bonfire.
Should probably make a new promo opening. Well, as long as the link works, I guess. Anyway, yeah, it's me. It's Brad here, and I just barely made it. Hey, give me a second now that I've hit record and am actually on here live. Give me a second to catch my breath. Is it because I masturbated beforehand? No. Not saying I didn't, but that's not why I'm out of breath right now. No. You ever have one of those evenings where you're about to live stream? You're about to live stream a couple of reviews. So, like everybody does, you pull your clips from your Megalodon oil rig shark film, also your high school wedding action movie. You pull the clips, you get them put together, rendered, all of that, on your desktop, not the laptop I'm doing this from. And then you shut the computer down and realize I actually forgot to transfer those clips over to my flash drive so I could put it on the laptop. Not that it really matters. I would probably just end up showing the wrong clips anyway. But so, had to go ahead and reboot the PC, which takes just as long as if I were to just drive back to the movie theater, take my phone and just film those clips from the movie, come back, put it on the laptop. But I hear I might get in trouble for that, so I'd better not do that. But most importantly, I also needed a snack first, and here's why. When I recorded last week, my head was all over the place. I was coming up with just thousands of different topics per second, and I'll tell you why. I didn't have my White Castle cup here to make myself look smarter. No, what it was I was really, really, really hungry when I was recording last week, and it didn't hit until like a minute after I hit go live. Because I was like, well, I had a decent enough dinner. I probably won't get that hungry while live streaming. But it was like all I was thinking about when I was talking. It's like I would get a word out, but then get distracted by my stomach. Get a word out, get distracted by my stomach. Word out, distracted by my stomach. Just all of that over and over again. And it didn't help that one of the topics I was talking about was food. And it was because I was talking about Brad tries, but I was talking about it in the sense that I didn't have the food there. So all I had was just the picture of icy cereal and store-bought AMC popcorn that you can get over at Walmart. So I was seeing that was making my stomach rumble even more, though it might get mad at me if I actually did eat those things. So it's like my hunger is wishing on a monkey's paw for something to eat. Oh, here's some icy cereal. That's what you wanted, right? So I got like 5 minutes into the episode, and I was thinking this isn't going to go well. And then one of the first comments for it was boring. Like, I can't disagree. I hope that person likes this one better. There is a shark movie in the midst. It was one of those weekends at movie theaters where it's not that a lot didn't come out. A fairly decent amount did. Just nothing big necessarily, even though one of them has the word big in the title. Big George Foreman is playing in theaters right now. It was a collection of a lot of different movies where I was looking to see what's going to be the most fun one to talk about. And then, well, Polite Society was definitely one I had to go see. But then there were a few other movies that were playing over at our Regal that I didn't really even heard of, and one was Big George Foreman, but it wasn't that I thought it looked bad necessarily. It was more it's kind of it was like 2 hours and 20 minutes. So I was like, let me see if there's something else. It was one of those weekends where it's like, let's see what's playing at the other theaters. Sure enough, one of the other theaters did have the shark movie. I'll go ahead and say this right now. I'm sure the George Foreman biopic is probably better than the shark movie that I went to go see. But the shark movie is going to be more fun to talk about. Let's look at the Rotten Tomatoes scores, and it could probably tell you which one will be the most fun one to talk about. And I had a lot of important things to talk about on the last episode, too. I showed you some pregnancy photos. I can pop up another one of those again. I still have those files in there. Like I said, I couldn't do all of my... I was racing to meet the 6 p.m. Central Time go live, so I've still got some files in here. Some of it is there we go. That is the glorious day in which we posed in front of the Amadeus poster that Laura had picked out. You know, she got to pick a poster. I got to pick a poster. She picked Amadeus. I picked the original Disney's That Darn Cat, as if I would need to tell you that's the one that that's the one that I picked. You look at both of those posters and be like, Amadeus, That Darn Cat. It was Brad that picked That Darn Cat. First I was like, I go, oh, why do I need to I mean, That Darn Cat's one of my favorite movies, but I go, why do I need to order any more posters? I already have the Screwballs poster framed. I'm not even joking. I'm actually looking at it right now. My framed screw. You can see it in some Snob episodes. I was actually looking behind me also to see if maybe the VHS tape was on the wall, but it's not. No, I was like, we've already got the framed 1983 classic Screwballs, one of my favorite comedies of all time. Laura goes, well, you could keep that in your office. That's how you want me to keep it in my office, right? It's my big motivation poster. You know how Homer Simpson has the Maggie mural on his wall that's like, do it for her? It's like that with me, but with the 1983 film Screwballs. Do it for Screwballs. It's your motivation. One day you will make a comedy equal to Screwballs. It'll never happen, but... You could dream you could make something as amazing as Screwballs. The tagline on the Screwballs poster is "The nuts who always score." And that's what I was looking at when I looked to my right too, to make sure I had the nut pun correct on what is on the Screwballs poster. If you have, I do spotlight Screwballs a little bit. I'm doing the 1983 in film episode right now, and I'm a little bit behind on it. Because we've there was some weather damage over at the studio. That's why the last couple of Snob episodes, it's me sitting here with the same background. So I might do a thing because I've got January, February, and March. Those parts of 1983 in film are over on Patreon right now. I've got April written, but I haven't shot it yet. I might have to do a thing where I write a thing at the beginning of it where I move locations from there over to here until the studio's back in shape. So I might have to do something. I know I did something like that on I think it was one of the binge watch episodes. It might have been the Friends one. Was it because of the pandemic? I can't remember. But there was one where it was like, suddenly I'm in the, I don't know how else to word this. I'm sorry. Suddenly I'm in the closet talking about Friends. Because usually, you know. Well, it was a 5-hour video, so I needed to go where the shitting bucket was. If you remember that from the pandemic episodes I did as the Cinema Snob, where I was reviewing Stephen King's The Stand. It's like a 90-minute episode, and I'm there with like a shitting bucket and a piss bucket. So, okay, everyone. Well, on this episode, we got 2 movies to review. We've got the action comedy Polite Society, and the Megalodon film Black Demon, which is playing in theaters. I don't know how many, but it was playing in a theater kind of near us. It was drivable. Yeah, sure, I got to it just fine. We'll find out if that trip was freaking worth it. I'll be talking about those 2 movies, and also be answering Super Chat, reading and answering Super Chat questions as well. So if you got any Super Chats for us, go ahead and throw those in the chat. We'll do those in between the reviews and at the end as well. But I might as well pull up my notes right here, and not too many movies to get to tonight. But again, better than the last episode where we did where I had only one movie to talk about, and I was distracted because of my hunger pains, and it was a movie none of y'all have probably ever heard of anyway. This one, I'm assuming you've at least heard of one of the movies. Let's the first one we'll talk about. We'll go ahead and go with Polite Society. It's a movie where if you're bummed out because your sister is giving up her art in order to marry a dude from a questionable family, I'm sure there's someone around whose ass you can kick. This is a few different styles of movie. It's like, oh shit, what if the man my sister is marrying is evil, like a Lifetime thriller? Then it blends it with a family dynamic comedy to a quirky, kind of 90s style high school movie. Like Rushmore, honestly. And for the most part, it's really clever at doing that. I like that you have this lead who is obsessed with martial arts and dreams of one day becoming a stunt woman, to the point to where she tries so hard to make all aspects of her life like an action movie that, oops, it really does become one, to her bewilderment. You'll have scenes where she's fighting with the school bully or fighting with her sister, and it'll be shot like an action film with plenty of stunts and crashing through walls. There could be a scene where the future mother-in-law is trying to get information, but it's shot like a dark torture scene where she's using leg wax. In the first half of it, I was liking all of those different blends of again, different types of movies. But at least in that act, I was watching it wishing I liked the main character better than I did. The character was feeling a little bit one note at first, and was so, like, kind of, I get why the character is angry, but so aggressively angry that I was honestly feeling for all of the side characters who are having to put up with some of this shit. Like, I was feeling sorry for them. Then somewhere around the middle, maybe, somewhere around then, when it almost gets a little science fiction-y, then I was warming up to what it was doing. The character does have a real arc. And in alienating so many people in the first act, I was feeling for her here, where, crap, it turns out she is right, and there's no one there to believe her. So it was this kind of predicament she was put in, and it was very, very well aware of what it was doing with this character in the first part of it. So I did appreciate that, and that was a really good payoff. There's some obvious jokes in the movie, like, you know, this type of joke where a character will go, I am not going to that event. No way, not going to that event. Cut to character at event. You know, that kind of joke. It'll do the thing where, like, she's fighting with the bully at the beginning, and then there's this big, epic, slow motion shot where she does like a big spin kick in midair, and you kind of know it's going to be one of those payoffs where she's going to miss or something clumsy is going to happen. And that's what did. Like, she missed and, like, fell on the ground. And so she lost that fight. There's, like, jokes that have a record scratch. There's chapters. It does, like, chapters in it. Kind of in the same style as Sisu that's out in theaters right now, but a wildly different type of film. Except in that, it was consistent with it through the whole movie, whereas this, they kind of just stop using the chapters like halfway through it. But that was kind of my only issues as far as some of the comedy goes, because there are some genuine laughs in it. Overall, it was a good time. It was more and more enjoyable as it went on, and it did make up for some of the character issues that I had early on. So it's a B. It's a B. It's something where I don't know if you need to rush out and see it necessarily, but there isn't really that much playing this weekend, I guess, unless you haven't seen some stuff that's been playing for a while. Then sure, you could probably find something. But no, it was a nice little movie that was worth checking out. I was glad that I was there. Okay, let me pull up my I'm pulling up the chat right now. To see if any. Okay, cool. So we can probably move right along too. Between these two movies, I don't know which one. Like, I don't know which. Like, if you're here watching this live, which one you were more so looking forward to me talking about. I'm assuming it's the shark film. I'm not sure. I hear that I haven't seen this movie, but I hear that Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret is really good. There was that came out last weekend. I might just try to see it on my own sometime because I hear nothing but good things about it. It came out last week when there was just a couple of bigger priorities to talk about. Evil Dead Rise and Beau is Afraid. And there was working around Beau is Afraid because it was a 3-hour movie. And Laura really, really wanted to see it. So I was like, okay, I had to time that. It's 3 hours and I got to time it for when she gets off work. Then the next day I saw Evil Dead Rise at like noon or 1 in the afternoon. Like a weird time to be going to go see Evil Dead Rise. As for this shark movie that I went to go see, well, you might come out of it with the same opinion no matter what time of freaking day that you go see this thing. This is a movie called The Black Demon. It sounds like it could be one of the many demon possession movies that gets released every season, but no, it's not. It's a shark movie. There's shark movies going back to theaters right now. So hey, there's that. I'm used to that just being every other movie you pop up over on Vudu or whatever VOD site that you're using. This particular case, no, it's in theaters. I mean, sometimes there's a shark movie in theaters. Granted, it's usually an anniversary screening of Jaws. Like when I went to go see that IMAX 3D re-release recently. I think they're doing a sequel to The Meg. I'm sure that'll be going to theaters. But, hey, The Black Diva, that's played in theaters right now. Recently, I went to go see that movie, 65, with Adam Driver. It didn't get very good reviews, but I liked it. I had a really good time at that. It was the Adam Driver fighting dinosaurs movie. It was straightforward enough. It felt like a real throwback to like a 60s Roger Corman type monster movie, and I thought it did it well. And now here's a movie, this Black Demon film. Here's a movie that could almost be a double feature to that, in that it also reminds me of a drive-in movie throwback, only it would be a double feature where you'd be like, well, that second movie sucked. 65 was as simple as you could get. The Black Demon is so complicated in a way that it was such a mesh of different ideas all thrown together. And I shouldn't have to ask myself, wait, what was this killer shark movie even about? Okay, so Josh Lucas and family go to Mexico so he can inspect an oil rig, but it's like a ghost town, where at first I was wondering if it was a south of the border Children of the Corn, or, I don't know, a vigilante movie or something. And then he gets trapped on the rig, is joined by his family who had to escape the roaming gangs because it's straw dogs for a few minutes. Actually, I think this might be from the director of the last Rambo movie. I'll have to double check on that. But oh no, the rig, back to the rig though, it's in very, very bad shape. The rig has been leaking and awakens the Megalodon and traps them on the rig. But the town knew about this and uses the Megalodon as, I don't know, a means to sacrifice people to it to appease the gods. I think that's what they say at one point. But then the evil oil company also sent Josh Lucas here as an assassination attempt to cover up his shoddy inspection work. There is so much going on in this film. Like it's sometimes The Shallows, sometimes it's Deepwater Horizon, to Jaws the Revenge, and none of this really goes together. That eventually the shark just drops out of the movie. And I forgot to even mention that like they hallucinate a lot in this film and see mirages, like boats that they shoot flares at. But no, oh no, you didn't actually see that. It's not really there. So that's a plot point that's quickly dropped at one point. Just like the shark just kind of leaves this movie halfway through, and it becomes an environmental message film. Right down to just pausing the movie to speechify about regulations and safety protocols, to Josh Lucas's wife saying, "The shark isn't the monster, you're the monster." This is a shark movie where mostly it's Steven Seagal's environmental speech at the end of On Deadly Ground, complete with B-roll montages. Hell, the name of the evil oil company in it is Nixon Oil. And it kept throwing me off because they kept saying Nixon first. So I think, wait, is he working for the Nixon? This isn't the 70s. I don't think it's not. I don't think it's in the 70s. No, it's not, because there's like an iPad in it or something. It's not a very well made movie. The editing is very awkward. The ADR is all over the place. The effects are bad. And my God, I felt for the actors in this. The acting is honestly fine. I'll give it that. The acting is okay. I like Josh Lucas a lot. And I've always liked Josh Lucas. And this movie made me respect him even more as an actor, because they give him terrible things to say in this. But he is very charismatic. He is very good at reading lines. So he still does his best to sell it. It's like you can look at him. There might be some lines that are awkward. There will be some lines that are awkward, but you can tell it is a talented actor saying them. He's doing his best. And I was like, I don't even know how he ended up in this film. I don't even know how I ended up seeing this movie in a theater. This is the opening weekend of it. I saw it like the first day. I saw it Friday. It didn't have a Thursday screening. I saw it on Friday. It was only playing at our AMC Dine-In theater. So not only did we have to make the trek to that particular theater, but also the dine-in experience. So, you know, I took my mom to go see. My mom's in town visiting, so I took her to go see this. And so she gets, she got popcorn. I got like the deluxe nacho. So it wasn't a cheap movie-going experience to see a movie that is slightly bigger budgeted than the same kind of movie that you would see on the Sci-Fi Channel. And the box office guy was laughing at us afterwards because we left. And we're in like the lobby area, and I was checking a couple of messages on my phone, and then I just went, "That was awful." And my mom laughs and goes, "Yeah, the ending was really stupid." And I go, "The whole movie was stupid." And at that, the box office guy started laughing at us, and I kind of looked and laughed too, and went like, "We were at the Black Demon." And then he looked like he didn't even know what that movie was. Not the first time I've seen that before, where like some of the people at the movie theater don't know what the hell the movie is that's playing. Sometimes I don't even know. This one, I knew it was a shark movie because the shark was on the poster. I never got a trailer for this. I don't know if any of you guys out there did, but no, I never got a single trailer for this movie. I didn't hear of this film until a few days ago. It was just me looking to see what else is playing at the other theaters. Black Demon sounds like something I need to go see, and sometimes that can really, really, really pay off. Like that movie I went to go see, The Devil Conspiracy. Not a great movie, no, but the best kind of bad movie. The kind of bad movie where you are glad you discovered it. You're glad you went to the theater. You are so happy you could be there to experience the batshit insanity of it. This movie wasn't that. This is not something you need to go seek out just for bad movie entertainment value. I was falling asleep near the end of this, and the ending of this thing is stupid. The ending doesn't work. It's one of those endings that, one, it's manipulative, and thinks that you care far more about these characters in this situation than you do. And my neck was even hurting watching. You ever go to one of those reclining seat theaters where the fact that the seat you're in reclines is like kind of a negative because the way the screen is and the way the seat is, like you don't want to recline it all the way back because then you're looking too far above, so your neck is kind of up like this a little, but it's got to be in the right kind of position because there's like a what do you call it? Like not like a big wall, but like a divider between the rows to where in this particular case I kind of had to look up a little bit a few times because there are some scenes that are subtitled in the movie, and sometimes these little like wall things can be a little too high to where it'll cut off the bottom part of the screen. It was like that. I do see in the chat that they want me to spoil it. I don't even know where to begin. Like there's a character who dies who has a bomb strapped to them. And I was already kind of checked out, just kind of going in and out of paying attention to this. But I will say this movie was so stupid. It wouldn't have surprised me if the character was still alive despite having a bomb strapped to them and blowing up and a rig collapsing. Like, I've seen, maybe not as preposterous, but I've seen that ballpark. Remember when a similar thing happened at the end of Jaws: The Revenge, where there was a killer who had to have been underwater for like 20 minutes at this point, but maybe it was a studio note or something, and they're like, no, you need to keep this character alive. So a character is just magically alive at the end of Jaws: The Revenge. It didn't do that, but I almost wanted it to be perfectly honest, because it'd have been a little less manipulative. So, okay, well that's... Oh, did I give my grade for it? It's a D-. It's not an F. Some of the acting is fine, and I like Josh Lucas a lot. It's not an F, but it is a D-. It is, in terms of theatrically released shark films that I've gone to go see, it was one of the worst of the theatrical ones. Like, you are better off just watching like a shark movie from the Sci-Fi Channel or the Asylum or one of those. Like, yeah, you might find some that are maybe worse than this, but by and large, they'll at least kind of give you your money's worth in terms of what you want out of them. You know, an Asylum shark movie. This, no, it was actually kind of a bore to go see it, especially when it turns... A shark movie shouldn't turn into a freaking lecture. Like, and if you're going to monologue in a shark film, it better be one of the best movies ever made, like, or one of the best written, acted, directed scenes of all time. Robert Shaw's monologue in Jaws. You ain't gonna be half as good at that if you attempt that, especially not in this, in The Black Demon, which... Jaws 5, Cruel Jaws is a better film than this. Okay, let's go ahead and that was still fun to talk about. Let's go ahead and get to some super chat questions. I won't keep you here too long tonight. I'll be back again midweek. Probably with them. I'm usually shooting for like Wednesdays to do the midweek streams. Got a few super chats in here. Okay, this is from my friend Kermit Wasowski goes, I know it's still kind of early yet, but will you guys have a baby registry or something we could contribute to? We will have a registry, but among family and stuff here, I don't know if that's anything that we're putting like public necessarily, but I'll shoot you a private message about it. Definitely. That's one of those where I'm like, gotta run this by Laura first. Like showing the pregnancy pictures. Like, is this picture all right? Okay, Kirok 2011. Brad, I have 2 questions for you. Oh, forget it. That's not part of the deal. I got 2 questions for you. 1, are you a super NYPD Blue fan? Yeah, My dad and I are huge NYPD Blue fans. The earliest memory I have of getting into a drama, like a primetime drama series on television, was Hill Street Blues in the 1980s, because it was on after that big lineup at the time. It was The Cosby Show, Family Ties, Cheers, Night Court, and then Hill Street Blues. So we were big NYPD Blue fans. And like the video I did, because we were, let me tell you something. During the lockdown, those of us who do videos for a living, we were throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall to see what sticks. Like, what was I doing around then? We did some extra Lloyd videos then with Lloyd and some toys we were ordering for him. And then I did this sketch that was a parody of, because there was also on television, there was different types of like Zoom programming going on. Like there was that Zoom Parks and Rec thing, and I think a few others too. So I did a parody of that. It's probably the most dated thing I've ever done and put on the channel. But it was a sketch called like the NYPD Blue Pandemic Special or something like that. So I played Dennis Franz, and I was throwing in like, it really was a sketch where I was just kind of geeking out about NYPD Blue, like, because I don't get to talk about that show very much, and I adore the show, and so I was throwing out a bunch of like references to it in this sketch to where like only people who watch the show would get some of them, like naming his dead partners and other characters who had like left the show. It was fun to do, but it was definitely like pandemic era content that I was putting up. And your second question, which do you prefer, Terminator 1 or Terminator 2? Now, I love them both, but honestly, the first one, I do love Terminator 2. It's a fantastic. It is one of the best action films of the 1990s, but I still always go back to the first one more. I don't know if it's the grittiness of it, that kind of tech noir thing that it has going on. I love Kyle Reese. I love how Arnold is like legit creepy in it and scary. I don't know. There's something about the raw ferociousness of the first one that I just love. But again, I go back and watch the second one a lot too. But it is that first one that I've seen the most. Campbellzilla, would you ever consider doing snob episodes on the Crow film series? That's a good idea. Maybe I'll throw that in the Talks box. The Talks box, I'll talk about that a little bit too. The Talks box that I have a bunch of snob movie choices in there. I like Spotlight. There's other series that I would like to get to before I would ever hit the Crow. Like, I did like the Phantasm series, the Children of the Corn series, especially the Children of the Corn series. I would really like to do, and those choices are in the Talks box. Because I haven't seen any of the sequels to Children of the Corn. I've only seen the first one, and that new one they put out. That was that was kind of an unintentionally funny bad movie. It's horrible. It is one of the worst movies I've seen so far this year. Can't say I regret seeing it in the theater, honestly. So I would consider that, if anything, to get to like some of the sequels. I've seen Crow City of Angels. I haven't seen anything beyond that. David Reeder asks, will we ever get a snob episode on Winter's Tale? Great question. Absolutely. Yeah, totally. I always figured that would be a crossover episode. There's 2 crossover episodes that I've really wanted to do with me and Doug, and that's Winter's Tale and Collateral Beauty. Collateral Beauty is one that we've wanted to do for a while because the idea of the sketches that we have for it are funny. If you don't know Collateral Beauty, that's the one that Will Smith did, where he's dealing with this tragic loss, but he owns this company. And his co-workers basically hire these actors to be like this Dickensian spirits who want to improve his life, but they're just making things worse, and it doesn't come across as heartwarming. It comes across as like really, really, really sadistic. And like extremely complicated. And I think we had like an idea for a sketch where it was like Malcolm isn't into doing the sketches, so instead of talking to him about his problems, we just hire actors to fuck with him. I think that was our idea for where it goes beyond that. I can't remember, but no, that and Winter's Tale I've wanted to do for a. I think we're getting together for a review of Halloween Ends in October. But around Christmas, I'm not sure. If we do Winter's Tale, of course, it would be around Christmas. Eventually, there will be that, certainly. Joseph Charlesworth. Brad, do I watch TLDI on Shudder? What's TLD? Does that stand for something? TLD. What's chat? Help me out. What's you don't have to do the super chat to answer to answer my question here for me to read it. What's TLDI? Is that what it is actually called, or does that stand for something? Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. I need to. It's funny you ask that because Laura was looking for something to watch. Laura was looking for something to watch while I'm in here, and I notice you. Sorry for the distraction. Oh, The Last Drive-In. Okay, got it. Yeah, yes, yeah, I do. Shout out to HRR Productions right now, who just in all one letters wrote "Notice Me." I think that's what he was trying to write. That's what made me laugh there. TLDI. Okay, Last Drive-In. Right before I got on here, Laura was over on Shudder, and I was like, I need to get back to reviewing some Shudder movies because I really like watching Shudder films. Laura and I are huge horror movie junkies, so we like watching the Shudder films, even when I don't get a chance to. A lot of them I've seen and haven't gotten a chance to review them. A couple of them have made my like best of list, and I was thinking about that before I got on here. I was like, I need to watch some more Shudder movies sometime. Yeah. Oh, Last Drive-In. Oh, yeah. Of course, definitely. Like, that was why I moved the stream to where now that this season is on, that I wouldn't be opposite. That I wouldn't be opposite Last Drive-In. Because I remember when we used to live stream in Springfield, and it was opposite the Last Drive-In, and there would be a lot of people in the chat who would be like, "Oh crap, I gotta go. Last Drive-In is starting," and I would be like, "Crap, I kind of want to go too." Never mind talking about this movie that I gotta talk about here. Kirok 2011 says, "Last question of Terminator. Do you think Terminator 1 is an action film or a horror film?" Sci-fi action. That's what I would put it as. But I mean, it does have terrifying moments in it, definitely. He says also he's a big NYPD Blue fan, always looking to people I can discuss the show with. I have no idea. I don't know if anyone can see me or not. This might end up it just said OBS disconnected. But now I think it's going again. There might be I don't know what happens when that on your end whenever that happens. Or how long I was gone right there, but a little disconnection thing popped up and then it said it reconnected. So, okay, I hope we're good. I can see the chat going right now. Luckily, we're about to get out of here soon anyway, so I hope you heard my answer to that. Talking about NYPD. Oh, okay. I didn't go anywhere. Okay, good, cool. So you just saw me have a brain fart there. Like, are we seeing Brad have a stroke on camera? Well, it's a good thing I got his opinion of Black Demon first. No, then NYPD Blue. Oh yeah, my dad and I still reminisce about NYPD Blue. Me and my buddy Mike, we're big Botchko guys. We'll talk about everything from NYPD Blue to like Bay City Blues, you know. So okay, we'll go ahead and get on out of here. Let me promote a couple of things here first. I've got over on Patreon right now. It took me a couple of extra days that I'm used to. Usually I have the early Snob episodes up around Tuesdays on Patreon, but I got family visiting this week, so I did post it up there on Thursday. You can see the Snob episode right now on the 1987 Italian slasher film Stage Fright. It's one of my favorite slasher movies of all time. So it was cool I got to do that. It was editing it was like editing it wasn't fun. Not because of the movie at all. It was because I was like kind of micromanaging editing and also having like family in from out of town. So it was kind of working whenever they're busy with something else. So it was a lot of micromanagement this week, but I was glad I got that finished. And Stage Fright is over on Patreon right now. That's patreon.com/thecinemasnob. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel today. Click the notification bell. Leave us a message over in the comments as well. If you saw Polite Society, if you saw or even heard of Black Demon, let us know. Leave us a little message in there. And I do have an advanced screening on Monday, so I'll at least have one movie review coming up midweek. Then later on in the week, I got Guardians of the Galaxy 3, so that'll be a review coming up. So hope you all had a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with us here. And take us out, King Frat theme. See you later.
King Frat, King Frat. Come everybody, come and join the party.